Once, a long, long time ago, when the world was so new that the full moon always shone bright and round every day of the year, there lived three sisters. They came from a family of shepherds, and most of their days were spent tending their flocks, shearing the sheep, washing, dyeing, and spinning wool. They sold their yarns at the market and always fetched a good price, for their sheep had the softest wool, and the sisters could spin it into the finest, most even yarn in the whole country. Almost as much as the girls loved spinning wool, they loved walking on the beach in the moonlight. At that time, the moon was growing dim, and it only gave them the faintest bit of light. Indeed, the moon, though it was always big and round, was only a little brighter than starlight. The girls had heard stories when they were very small about a time when the moon was brighter. Before their great-grandmother had died many years before, she told them stories of travel and about how animals used to come out at night, for they did not need to fear that predators hid in the darkness. The girls longed to see the moon at its former glory, and so they decided to set out to help the moon find its brightness again. The sisters walked for many days in the direction of the tallest mountain. Up they climbed until at last they were amongst the clouds, and the moon was very near indeed. They began to sing a song, sweet and sad, to call the moon to them. Soon the moon heard their singing and began to draw nearer. At last the moon was so close they felt they could almost touch it. The eldest sister called out to the moon, "Dearest moon, why do you no longer shine brightly, lighting the night for people and animals?" At first, the moon was silent, for it had been so long since anyone had spoken to her that she had almost forgotten how to speak. Then, in a soft voice that sounded like the strings of a lyre, she told them, "Children of the earth, I have lived such a long, long time. Once I was clean and bright, and I lit the world for the people who walked on land. Alas, it has been many, many nights since that time. Every day dust from the earth is thrown by the winds, and some of the dust is thrown so high that it lands on me. After so many years, I'm afraid I have become dirty." The girls could hear the sadness in her voice as the moon told them of her fear that one day she would be so covered with dust that no one would be able to see her at all anymore. The middle sister said, "Oh, dear moon, if only there was some way we could help you." Then the youngest sister had an idea. She had noticed that up close the moon seemed to be made of fine threads, almost like yarn. She asked the moon, "What would happen if I pulled on this bit of fiber?" The moon said, "Surely I would unravel. But if you have the skill to wind me back up, and if you think it would help, then I would allow you to unravel me." Each sister took hold of a small fiber of the moon. They carried their threads down the mountain and back to their home by the sea. Each night for 2 weeks they slowly pulled on the threads from the moon, spinning them into their spindles. Slowly, day by day, the moon began to grow smaller and smaller, until finally she was just a thin sliver in the sky. On the last night they had spun all of the moon into their spindles, and the sky was dark. The sisters took their spun moon fibers down to the sea and began to wash it. They let the delicate threads of moonlight slip from their spindles and into the water in long ripples of light that stretched from the shore to the horizon, until where the sky meets the sea, the moon began to grow again. For 2 more weeks the sisters let the threads of moonlight unravel from their spindles, while in the sky the threads wound themselves once more into a great ball of light. When the moon was full and round once more, she shone as brightly as she had in the stories. The people all came out to turn their faces skywards at her radiant beauty. The three sisters agreed to help the moon stay clean and bright, and they began again, spinning and washing the moon fibers, and then rewinding them into the sky. They have continued this important work ever since.